Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, the big long wait is over. Oh yeah. Forget about winter. Summer is here. Summer's almost ended for some people. But we've got the prequel. Oh, it's here now. The prequel to Game of Thrones. J.R.R. Martin and all of that ensemble. The greatest thing ever put on TV. Well, it was until the last few episodes of the final season, when it all went titty up and became a complete and utter clunk fest, and just derailed pretty much everything you'd seen up until that point. And everything up until that point was genius. Dark, brutal, dark and stark. And it was just the greatest ensemble cast imaginable, the most brutal things you could possibly conceive, and the most devious, impetuous, heroic, romantic, tragic storylines possible. It nailed all of that, and had dragons too, and Daenerys Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, oh my god. And also Momoa, the big man Momoa, my man Momoa was there, I know, in the opening season. But it was genius stuff. Every character had a great story to tell. All the little supporting cast members had little stories to tell. They all played a part. You had the imp, of course. Everything was genius. So, J.R.R. not Tolkien, J.R.R. Martin, kind of stumbled towards the end, didn't deliver the goods, so it got took over and the show ran its course and ended on a really bum note, I would say. But it was that successful, it had to have something else. Are we going to go beyond? Are we going to go before? Well, the easy thing to do was to go beforehand, because Martin had set so much, like J.R.R. Tolkien, a huge world, a huge canvas, Westeros, King's Landing, the Starks, the Lannisters, all of this, and the Targaryens, and the dragons, let's not forget them. All of this infighting and bitchery, and of course you've got, winter's coming, what's beyond the wall, got all that as well. So there was so much history that had to be sort of relayed, and stories to be told, characters we'd only heard about, people talking about them in mythical terms. Let's tell their story. So you get House of the Dragon now. And as far as I know, Martin hasn't written this. I could be wrong about that. But this is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. And episode 1, yes, this is truly episodic. Episode 1, and then wait a week, you get episode 2. And you've got 10 episodes in season 1, I think I'm right in saying. And half the world, it transpires, has been awaiting this eagerly with feverish anticipation. And I would normally have been the same way, but I wasn't, because there were so many other things I was interested in. A certain Predator prequel was there, a certain Thor movie, a lot of things I was like, well, look, I'm forever setting myself up for a fall by getting disappointed by things which have been big enough, so I'm not even going to look at anything to do with this, and I didn't. And in TV fantasy land, we've got Willow, the sequel series coming out. You've got the Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings prequel as well. Oh my god, there's just so much going on. And I've kind of cut myself off from all of that, because I want to keep some things fresh. I do, I genuinely do. And I did with this, and boy did that pay off. Because episode 1 I really, really enjoyed. Of this, House of the Dragon, I thought was fantastic. I thought, it's hard to pick up the pieces of a show like Game of Thrones, which had so much intrigue, so much skullduggery, so many characters fighting and bickering, allegiances, alliances, people whispering in people's ears, betrayals and treachery, and shocking scenes. To pick up from that, how the hell are you going to start it? How are you going to open this? Well, they opened it brilliantly. Now, we are way back, we're 200 years before, and I'm going to get all the names mixed up because I can't help it. The thing about Game of Thrones, I was an avid fan of that, but if you stopped me in the street or in the bar and said, "Kilt-Man, have you seen the latest episode?" Yes, I have, yeah, oh, it's fantastic. What about this with so-and-so and so-and-so? And I'd be going, who's that again? Exactly who is that? When I'm watching it, it made perfect sense. But when you come away from it, you go, oh my God, because there's just so many people and so many storylines all conflicting and, maelstrom of stuff going on. And I loved it. The intrigue and the skullduggery was par excellence. And it works while you're watching it. And I'm sure there's people out there who know every character, every line of dialogue, every single nuance that they all committed to the screen, and all the backstories. Yes, it's that kind of show. You've got people like that. And you've got those same people have gone into this with the same knowledge. Well, I know the backstory of so-and-so and so-and-so and how it's all going to come together. Oh, yeah, you're going to get all that as well. I am going to spoil bits of this, but I also couldn't give you the full rundown of what happened. Basically, it's the start. You've got King Viserys Targaryen, whatever his name is, played brilliantly by Paddy Considine, and his wife is about to give birth, and he's got a daughter. Daughter is that? Hang on a minute. It's the young one. Is it Millie Alcock playing the young Princess Rhaena Targaryen? And I thought she was great. Then he picked an actress, a young girl, who has an Emilia Clarke look about her, the punch lips and all that, and the petulant chin. And she's got all that look. And they've all the Targaryens, they've all got the bleach blonde, sort of elvish, not Elvis, elvish, like bleach blonde hairdos, all swept back and all down the back and all that, and look great. But they are like elves. It is just basically Legolas and his clan filling the screen. But this girl, she's not going to be heir to the throne because she's a girl. But the wife's pregnant, the queen is pregnant, and she will. I'll go spoilers straight away. I'm just gonna give an overview really of this. She's gonna go into a breech birth, and they're gonna have to. A new tactic they found. They're gonna have to cut her open. You've got to sacrifice one to save the other. My lord, it's up to you. Poor Paddy Considine's got to make the choice. So they're gonna carve into his missus. This isn't the start. This is way later in the episode, during a big jousting sequence, which is really, really good as well. And but in so doing, he's going to lose his wife, and he will lose his son and heir to the throne, the Iron Throne. And he's got a brother. Oh yeah, there's always brothers. There's always families, mate. In Game of Thrones, and this whole universe does kind of capture what real families are like. You can't fucking trust them, especially when there's a load of brothers and mad sisters, and I've just described my own family there, but that's what this is all about. So he's got his brother, and it's Matt Smith playing, what's his name, Prince Daemon Targaryen, and I like Matt Smith, although I've got a sneaking suspicion that he might be slightly miscast in this. What? Shock horror, you say that? He's a damn good actor. He is a damn good actor. He also looks like fucking Harlan, that freakish footy player, especially with his bleach blonde wig on. Because he's a Targaryen as well, obviously. And he's got ambitions. He wants the throne. He wants to be seated there and have power. Now, because his brother, Paddy Considine, is the Lord and the King, King's Landing. He's been given all the duties to do, and he's in charge of, what is it, the Red Watch or the Red Guard, and they're the police, King's Landing. And but he wants to make a name for himself, and he's been kept away from the higher jobs, like the Hand of the King and all that. Like the Hand of the King is played by Rhys Ifans, who's wonderful. He plays Otto Hightower, Rhys Ifans, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. I love him. He's a great actor. No one ever really thought how good he could be, but him and Paddy Considine, I've always lumped together in other things. Like, you know, they have the same ilk. You know, are they one note? No, I think they're better than that. But, you know, can they play other roles? Yes, they can. And both of them prove it now. And Rhys Ifans is magnificent in this. He distrusts the Matt Smith character, Prince Daemon, and you know, you can't trust him. He's ambitious, and you've got a sequence in this. The show hits the ground running with sex and violence. It's got it because that's what Game of Thrones built its notoriety on. You know, shocking scenes, very explicit graphic scenes of violence, and tons of sex and nudity. Although they kind of curbed that towards the end. The violence was still there, but the nudity kind of went out the window. Episode 1 of original Game of Thrones went out the window. Little Easter egg for you there, folks. And but he knows that this guy, Matt Damon, Matt Smith playing Prince Daemon. Matt Damon, there you go. You heard it here first, folks. He's in charge of this Red Guard, the Red Watch. And well, you know, King's Landing's full of, you know, criminals and swine, pirates and blackguards, you know, and all this kind of stuff. They're going to overthrow you, so I've got to make a statement. So you get the shocking sequence of him and his men storming, you know, one of the provinces of the city where all the criminal element lurk, and they're hacking hands off people. They're also hacking other bits off people. And they're beheading people, and they've got carts full of body parts. You've got to make a statement. And he strides into the High Council and all that, and he said, you know, I've got to stem that, you know, nip it in the bud before they come for you, to his brother, you know, the king. You know, but no one else likes his tactics and all that. So you've already got that dynamic there, and he clearly has aspirations to go higher. Now, of course, as the show goes on, the episode goes on, the king will lose his son and heir because his brother wants you've gone, it should be me. But there's a sister as well who's the queen that never was, and she is, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm going to pick the wrong person probably. You've got, hang on a minute, Westering Hightower. Be in a second. There's a guy. No, I don't know. I haven't got the name written down there, but she's the queen that never was, and like her husband, who a black guy but he's got like sort of grey dreadlocks coming down, and he looks just like Ezekiel from The Walking Dead. He's there, and he's sort of like, you know, look, we still need this guy because he's important, and he has put the fear of you into all the population. So it's going to keep down rebellions and stuff like. So we need him. What he's doing is actually a good thing, to a degree. But none of the council really like Matt Smith's character, and he is a twat without a doubt. He's whoring and drinking and inciting people to, you know, rebellion. And this culminates in a whorehouse sequence where he makes a speech in the whorehouse. And there's all merriment, revelry, and ribaldry stuff going on, and lots of nudity and bobbly bits. And he says, like, here's to the heir for a day, I think it was, about the son that died, you know, which would have been his nephew. And of course, the king gets with Paddy Considine, gets told of this. He's lost his wife, he's lost his son. And he gets told of this, so he summons, you know, his brother. He's like, "Is it true what you said? The heir for a day? Is that what you said?" And I said, "Well, you know, we all treat grief in our own individual ways, don't we? But this is the point, the turning point in this episode. You know, I've put up with you. I've done everything for you, and you've thrown it all back in my face. You've insulted me and my late wife and my son, which I've lost, and all this goes on. Like, and he says, like, well, what have you done for me? You know, I swore to stand by your side, to protect you, but where'd you put me? You put me out. You try and send me off to other districts, other provinces. You give me a wife I didn't even want, and all this kind of, and he's giving it loads. Oh, poor aggrieved you. And but he just goes like, but the king just says like, look, I don't give a fuck about this. You are gone now. Don't argue. If you argue, I'll get your tongue cut out. You're out. Go now. You're going back to your wife. I don't care what you think about it. You're going back to your wife. And he will then make his daughter, played by Millie Alcock, Princess Rhaena Targaryen. He's going to say to her, look, you know, he'll give the secrets of the family. You know, how did we control the dragons? Well, it's because we control dragons. You know, we got the power. No, we don't control dragons at all. No. That's just, we're going to make the people think we control them and all that. And they've got dragons there. And she's a superb dragon rider. That's how the show actually opens, with big dragons swooping all around, you know, King's Landing, out through the clouds, and then dipping down through the high pinnacles and spires. And she's riding this thing, and she can control it because she's got that gift. And at the end of it, he's basically saying to her, look, you know, they've got the dragon there, so that, you know, we've got these, but our secrets, you know, we don't control them. But the population needs to remember that, so that we retain the power. And I want you to know this, because the future king or queen needs to know all this and keep that secret safe. So he's lost his son and heir. He despises his brother, so he's going to make the heir to the throne his daughter, because there's nothing in the council. There's no rule against a woman being the queen. Well, you think you'd find it hard for a man to be? No. I was going to say a man can't be a queen, but let's not go down that road. Oh dear God, there's a rabbit hole we don't want to go into. So there's no rule why a woman can't be queen over the land. We just haven't done it. But some are going like, well, so you're gonna cast aspersions and turn your back on hundreds of years of tradition. Yeah, but the rule is, you can, or queen can rule. So he's going to give her the job. And that's pretty much how that will end. The episode will end. And Matt Smith, with his whore of choice, will take one of the dragons, and off they're going to go, because he's obviously plotting vengeance, and, you know, I want the throne. Not the comfiest of thrones. In a nice little portent, after he's just chastised his brother and kicked him out of court, basically. Rhys Ifans, like Paddy Considine as Viserys, he goes to wipe his fevered brow, and there's blood, and he's cut his own finger on one of the... Would you sit on a throne that's made out of about 10,000 sharp swords? Not my idea of a comfy nest, you know? And so he's at a portent there. Now, so I mentioned the dragons. You've got some okay CG with the dragons. I've seen people already saying, like, the CG's fantastic. And I've seen people say the CG's shit. The CG's okay. It's just okay. There are some shots of the dragons where it does look a bit ropey. But I'm only mentioning this because I've seen other people mention it. So I feel I've got to address this sort of thing. I'm not bothered by the quality of the CG. It works perfectly well. The vistas of King's Landing and Westeros is gorgeous. I do like the look of the city. It's very Roman, very Greco-Roman, from like, what, I don't know, the 1st century, you know, with the terracotta roofs and all that, like, and all huddled together. But it actually looks lovely, you know. And there's some obvious CG constructions and the big sweeping flybys of the dragons and all that. But the dragon comes down to, like, Viking style, to cremate the bodies of the queen and the heir for a day. And it comes lumbering down from a high point, and it's the young princess who's going to become queen, who calls it down because she can speak the dragon lingo. So it comes down, like, and that scene looked a bit dodgy. But overall, no, I thought the CG was fine. Production value was actually great. Costumes are wonderful, except for one costume, which I thought was ludicrous. Now, you've got a sequence of jousting taking place, which is the action point of this episode. And it's great, you know, it's a really good sequence, and it goes on for quite a bit, and it's sort of juxtaposed with Viserys' wife, the Queen, trying to give birth, and the struggle that ensues there, and he would be called away, and he'll have to make the choice, cut her open, which doesn't work anyway, and results in a double tragedy. But the jousting's taking place, and it's wonderful. Forget Excalibur, forget A Knight's Tale. This is fucking brutal stuff, like, and it does culminate in just blood-curdling frenzy. People, you know, it should be like, do you give, do you relent, you know, and all this, you know, do you concede? And they're going, yeah, but they're going fucking chin him in the fucking back of the head and all that, like, and they've got maces and axes and they're chopping people to bits. No one's a noble loser in this. They're all bastards, and they will stab you in the back, and it becomes a complete battlefield, which is great. But Matt Smith, Prince Daemon, he likes the young princess, and he has some. Is it dragon glass? You know, I probably got that wrong now. And he gives her like a dragon glass necklace, and he's got a ring of dragon glass or something like that. Now we're together, we understand each other. He's just inveigling his way. Or knowing this show, there could be some incestuous desire there, because you don't know when this is going to go. Sex-wise, it leaves no stone unturned, no depravity undepraved. And so he does this, and you kind of think, oh, there's an attachment there. And he wants her favour for his jousting. And it's a twat, but he's bloody good as well. But the armour he wears in that sequence, he has the most pathetic... And I've got to be honest, I was laughing out loud. He's got the helmet on, but you can still see his face, but the visor comes down. But he's got these stupid wings on it, and not like Thor, not like that, but these stupid wings on the side of his helmet, which look really cack and flimsy, and it just looks stupid. But he jousts away, and the clash, poof, it's bloody great, like uber violent, and he gets knocked. He's sort of hanging off the horse, but with his armour and his stirrups, he's caught on, and you've got that barrier, you know, between the two combatants, and he's like sliding down that, and come at the end and falls off, like. But he has a massive big skirmish with Sir Criston Cole, played by Fabian Frankel. I think that's the right character. I'm sure his name was Criston. And this bastard, the two of them are fucking going for it like hell for leather, battering each other. Even the fact they're wearing huge suits of armour, you would not be able to do those manoeuvres, but that doesn't really matter. It's just fun. It's fun to watch. And but he gets the upper hand. After losing a bit, he then takes down Matt Smith's vicious, evil Daemon. And he gives in. And you're thinking, like, I was genuinely thinking, oh my God, it's just going to be like the mountain in Game of Thrones where he crushes whatever's head, forgot his name, the guy that played the Mandalorian, forgot his name, but he crushes his head and you're like, oh my God, one of the most shocking moments in TV history. And I thought he's going to get up, he's going to do something like that. Doesn't actually, but clearly these two are going to go at it again. They're going to be set up as massive rivals. But the show could obviously deviate. They could become allies. They could become gay lovers. Who the hell knows? It's that kind of show. Anything goes. So that's a great sequence. And it's clever as well, because it's shown that Matt Smith's character, Prince Daemon, who's ruthless and ambitious and a bastard to boot, actually lost that fight, that joust. So he's not infallible, he's not indestructible, but you know, he'll be bitter. He's going to be a sore loser, isn't he? You've got Ramin Djawadi's music again. You're hearing it now from season 8 of Game of Thrones, but that main theme is there. Beyond that, I can't really recall much of the music during the episode, so it didn't take me out of it, but I didn't particularly notice it either. But the main theme is there with a choral background. You've also got a great... I'm not sure if this is meant to be an Easter egg. The episode is littered with Easter eggs, as you'd expect, to be honest. And they're not heavy-handed either, I didn't find. But you've got, after he's lost his wife, you've got King Viserys. He's got like a big 3D model construction of King's Landing and his kingdom, and it's so intricate and it's built on multiple levels. And he's, forget your matchstick constructions, like the Elephant Man is constructing Westminster and Big Ben and all that out of matchsticks, and those horrible carnies come and ruin it all for him. This is bigger again. I'm not sure what materials he's using, but it's fantastic. And the minute you see it, you're thinking, oh my god, is this what the opening titles of Game of Thrones is? That big clockwork construction showing all the different lands and provinces, and each episode something new be added, and the camera would swoop in to Ramin Djawadi's score. And like, is it that? Well, no, it's not. No, because it's not Westeros, but it does not give you that vibe when you see it. You go, as you put clockwork mechanics into this, will doors open and things turn around, and it'd be great. They do hint at what lies beyond the wall. Up north, these southern bastards never like us up north, do they? No. But I hope that in this, that they always hinted at in Game of Thrones. They said the line, oh yes, where when they come down. What's he called? God Almighty. Who's the Lord of the Dead up there? I forgot his name now. Nah, it doesn't matter. You know who I mean. That Frost King, whatever his name is. And when you get killed, you come back as one of them. I forgot his bloody name. There is a line early on in Game of Thrones where they say, I think they're telling, what are they telling? Arya Stark, is it? When they come with their packs of pale spiders. Sweet God alive, that line. I went, are we going to see these hordes of frozen undead with packs of pale spiders? Well, you might do in this, because obviously that legend came from this sort of time period. So hopefully we're going to see that in this. God, that'd be great. It'll make my skin crawl, but God, it'll be great. I hope so. Other cast people you've got Graham McTavish as Sir Harold Westerling. Graham McTavish, he is in Rambo, the one set in Burma, so Rambo 4 in other words. He's in Outlander, and he's in a lot of things. And him and the one that played Outlander, the main guy in Outlander, they did their own kilted fucking journey around the world and all that. I like him, he's great. And it doesn't make no attempt to hide his accent either. Pure fucking Scots, and I like that. But the thing about Game of Thrones is no one changes their accent. And he struck me as being the sort of the Onion Knight. He's already a confidant of the young princess, and you kind of like the guy. He's not in it much, but he's going to serve that kind of role. He's going to be, a loyal devotee. He will whisper in the ear, and he will train and be the tutor and mentor, and he'll steer in the right path because he knows other things. But he's also going to be like the underdog for the actual hierarchy as well. So, a load of great characters have been introduced already. As I said before, I think Matt Smith is slightly miscast, and I'll tell you why. A, he looks stupid with that blonde wig. He's a good actor. They are all good actors. But the problem with Matt Smith is his voice. When he is trying to be assertive and give a rousing speech of, pure evil to his troops, they'll make them fear the colour gold because they wear a gold sash. And they call them the red watch, so they call the gold watch. You can't call them a gold watch. That's what you get when you read something. Here's the gold watch. I forgot what I said I'd do this. I forget everything, and I have. But when he's spouting, rhetoric, even to his brother, Matt Smith's voice does not hold any command at all. He sounds wimpy and ineffectual. Good actor, not denying it. And evil, playing a bad guy, Last Night in Soho, he's wonderful in that. But here, because he's got to stride around and command, and he's a bit of full frontal as well, some slight manoeuvring with the gold, sash that they wear. He manages to hide his scrotage, but he's bolloco. And so at least they're not letting standards drop, are they? They're gonna everyone is prone to be nude in this show. I'd have to get their bits and bobs out. It's part of the contract. Although I did notice that Emilia Clarke seemed to stop doing that fairly rapidly after season 1 of the original Game of Thrones. Anyway. So Matt Smith, I think it's only his voice that lets him down, but for me it does let him down. So all the power and aggression that he's supposed to be using and his posturing, it kind of falls a little bit flat for me because of that damn insipid little timid voice. It just doesn't work. He's an ugly fucker though, don't get me wrong, and with his stupid blonde wig on and his ears stick out anyway, so he looks even more elf-like than the rest of them. He'll probably be great. I'll be singing his praises next week. You watch, because I'll talk about each episode as we go along. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it, and it hit the ground running, and it did everything you expect it to do. The thing about Game of Thrones is you can trust nobody, absolutely nobody. Friendships and alliances are made and broken on a whim, and the person you trust most could be the one that stabs you in the back, and actually doesn't just stab you in the back, because that'd be the easy way out. They'll leave you to a horrible, horrible fate worse than death. You can trust nobody. It's funny how people love Game of Thrones so much and get so invested in the characters, and they know all the backstories and the histories of all these different areas and regions and realms. But if you compare it to Lord of the Rings, which you can't help but do, because the whole thing's based on that. It's definitely inspired by Lord of the Rings. If you could inhabit, Middle Earth, I would. And where would I live? I'd live in the Shire. I'm the right height. I've got big hairy feet. I'd be fine. I love ale and getting pissed all the time. So the Shire is for me. Can you think of anywhere in Westeros that you'd want to be? They're all bastards. Everybody is a bastard. You can't trust a single person. You can't trust your own family, your best friend. No one's loyal to anybody else. It's a horrific place to be. You don't even need vast hordes of the undead coming down from north of the border. You don't need armies rising up and all that, and bastard kings and mad kings. Everybody is a swine who will stab you in the back and burn your eyes out and make you eat your own testicles. That's what they're like. So, it's as fascinating and as engrossing as it is, you wouldn't want to be there. You don't want to inhabit that world at all. But it's good that it does that, and this show, House of the Dragon, definitely brought all that element back into this. So, as I say, it hit the ground at speed, and it wasn't tons of exposition. It wasn't a load of old, waffle and big expositional dump. It didn't need it. It was told quite gracefully throughout all the interactions and the conversations. Some of it's obviously heavy-handed, obviously, he's the villain, Matt Smith's a bad guy, don't trust him. Well, that's bloody obvious, wasn't it? But, you have to show why he's a bad guy. You've got to set your stall out right from the word go. And then you can reset your stall episode to episode. Because at the end of this, we might be singing, Prince Damon, he's the man, Matt Damon. Oh, hang on a second. Yes. I'm just here to drink and think. What is it Tyrion Lannister says? I drink and I talk. Whatever. It's actually one of the best quotes, and I've forgotten it. But that's the beauty of Game of Thrones. It's all brilliant, but it doesn't stay in my head for some reason. It all flitters away. But it's a wonderful show. And I can't wait for episode 2. I thought it worked a treat. Let's end on the main theme. Come on. It's so damn good. hell are they called? The frosty undead? Come on, someone tell me. Who's there? The Black Knight, the Dark Knight? No, that's Batman. What the hell is he called? Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the episode if you've seen it. And if you haven't, please do watch it. I know there's some people who haven't seen Game of Thrones, and they're actually asking, should I watch this first? That's a tough one, really, because this is a prequel, of course, so it sets up all the events you're going to see in Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones came first, and to get invested in what the importance of all this is, I think really you need to watch Game of Thrones, and that is a vast but fantastic undertaking and well worth doing. So I don't know, it's one of those. Do you watch the prequel or do you watch? I would suggest watching the original Game of Thrones and then coming to this. I know it seems arse about face, but that came first. This is created after all of that, and they've got the tough job now of trying to make all this fit in to what you see. And in the history of prequels, that doesn't work too well. I'm not saying it won't in this case. And there'll be plenty of people who are so live and breathe, Westeros, that they'll be like, well, that shouldn't have happened and they shouldn't have done that. He should not have said that. He shouldn't even be there. He wasn't born until a decade later. You got all that. It's a show and it's got to run its course. And I think it's got off to the best possible start. Wonderful. It's got me hooked already. You've still got Rings of Power. God. And you've got Willow. And after reviewing Willow recently, quite in depth as well, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I was never a fan of Willow to begin with, many moons ago. But having literally bumped into Willow himself, which I've discussed a lot, yeah, I want to see it. I'm gonna go with it. So there's a big fantasy deluge at the moment, is there not? You can't go wrong with that. Lots of swords, lots of witchcraft, lots of sorcery and skullduggery. It's just like real life, isn't it? And that's the thing about Game of Thrones, is it's real life and real family. The family dynamic blown apart, rivalries, animosity, hatreds, little forgotten indiscretions which will come back to bite you on the arse. But it's just uplifted to that heightened fantastical level, and it does work. And looking at the action scenes in this, the jousting sequence is tremendous. It's very vigorous, very vivid, very visceral. Got some clout as well. You'll feel those impacts. So that only bodes well for what's going to come next. Battles, dragons, people getting roasted, and people having other things done to them as well. Cheers, folks. So let me know below what you think of House of the Dragon. Are you on board? Do you care? Do you care not? And are you on board for the next episode? Because I'm going to discuss all of these. Cast is great, music's great, impact is there. I do believe that the young princess that we've seen in this, what's her name again, Millie Alcock, she's going to be replaced in, if not the next episode, the one after that, because she's younger in this episode, and she will be replaced by Eve Best, who plays an older version. So, folks, I have been always shall be Kilt-Man. Please keep it Kilted, keep it Celtic. And tell your friends to come and watch the Kilted channel. Spread the word. I know. Please like, share, and leave comments. All these things apparently help. I've heard all the other YouTubers saying all this. I don't know. But just, we want more of us. Together, we're stronger. So, make it so. Gonna see you all. Westeros. Do you give a toss?